BMW FIBT World Championships comes to its conclusion here in Winterberg in Germany with the final deciding run of the blue ribbon event, the four-man bobsled, at the end of a stunningly gorgeous Sunday afternoon to round out 14 days of action on this Winterberg track. Hello everybody, Martin Haven and John Morgan in the booth, ready for a nail-biting conclusion in what, John, might just be the best ever finale to a four-man World Championships in history.
I've seen every World Bobsled Championship since '87. I've never seen a fourth heat shape up to this. Nico Walter, he's got three veterans behind him who all won World Championships with two different drivers, and he had a great first run. Not so good second run, a blistering track record on the third run, and this former luge athlete in his first year of competition in bobsledding on the World Cup circuit has positioned himself to win a World Cup title. Wow. But Oscar's Melbardis, this is the only team that's intact from last year's Olympics. They won the silver medal. The Latvians have never won a World Championship bobsled event. This guy's won the World Cup two-man and four-man titles, and he's only 1/100th of a second behind at the bottom, but he's got the best start times, but he does not have the best velocity after the first curve. They're gonna have to clean that up because the Germans are beating them to the bottom part of the track with better driving skills. And this is the skill. Max Arndt, the 2013 world champion, he gives up a little time at the start, but his team's got excellent velocity after the first curve. And he's got great skills down below. And if he does what he did in the first run, he will walk away with his second world championship title.
So Max Arndt drove himself from second place into the lead. He overturned an 800ths of a second overnight disadvantage. And effectively with the top three covered by 300ths of a second, Francesco Friedrich is still in the mix. But for the gold, it's all but a dead heat, and nothing other than perfection will do. This is such a straightforward track to get down, easy to get down, hard to make a difference. You can give away time in the blink of an eye. 20 sleds go into the final run.
Crowds on the track, huge. They've been here all afternoon. And this is an educated bobsled audience, much like going to a hockey game at the Montreal Forum. Simone Bertazzo, one of the athletes fighting. There's an athlete who's had a great year, Martin.
Yeah, Yoon Jung-won of Korea, never raced in Europe before, and there's the man who took the silver medal in the two-man, the standout bobsleigh driver all season long. Oscar's Melbardis hoping not to end up in the second spot here. Look at the air temperature. The sun's gone down behind the mountain now. It's come down from about 14 degrees earlier to +10. Ice -2 though, and that means that we will be fast. We've had the track record broken in every discipline. We've had the track record broken multiple times in every run in the four-man. We are now getting on for a full second and a quarter inside what was a 7-year-old record when this competition got underway. So this track is insanely fast.
Yeah, they're almost too fast for the bottom part of the track. Everybody comes down in the first run, but two sleds at their own personal best times. There's Nico Walter, the young upstart German pilot who's trying to etch his name onto the Martineau Cup, the trophy that they've been giving out here in bobsledding since 1931. It's one of the oldest winter sport trophies.
Cody Basque of the USA goes off first. The top 20 go in reverse order, as is habitual in all international sliding competitions. The total time for each sled for 4 runs is accumulated, and the least elapsed time will win the gold medal. And with 300s covering the top 3, every fraction of a second is going to be critical. Last day of competition in Winterberg. The four-man World Championships comes to its conclusion. And Cody Basque of the USA, the 20-year-old from Whitehall, New York, is the man who has the honor of setting the track on fire for the final time here to start this top 20 runoff. Holiday Hams, Casey Wickline, David Kremin and Adrian the Jet Adams, the crew. Previous best 30th in the World Champs. Is already 10 spots higher up than that.
One of a couple 20-year-olds in the competition. Benjamin Meyer coming up from Austria. 5:20 start. That's similar to what they had in the last run. 63.4 kilometer speeds. Pretty good entry speed. I'm going to be emphasizing that entry speed. That is everything when you have 3 sleds at the top of the leaderboard like we do, separated by just 0.03 of a second. That speed will tell you everything.
Well, Basque is 900 back from 19th place and a 10th out of 18th, so every fraction is going to be critical here.
Great learning season, not only for Cody Basque, but the all-rookie crew. U.S. team retooled, a lot of new athletes. They'll all go home and they'll start to get themselves and their bodies in bobsled shape. A lot of these guys came in here in football or track and field shape. Bobsled's a different sport, and it's a very specific training regimen that these guys are going to go through. Good athletes here, just got to put them all into bobsled shape and put them into a bobsled team form.
Okay, 54.39, that's his fastest run of the competition, and it's a 10th of a second quicker than the time he set about an hour and a half ago. And that means the track is going to get faster.
Okay, we're watching. Watch the brakeman here to see if he's comfortable getting. Look at his arms. That's Adrian Adams, just in quickly, arms. Now they sit down with that aerodynamic. Hey, Cody, you're in the leader's box. Get in there.
Well, the man who chases him down the mountain, who has a slender advantage after 3 of our 4 heats. First time racing in Europe this season, first time racing in Winterberg. This is Yoon Jung-won of Korea. His best 4-man result, 17th on the track he knows well, Lake Placid in upstate New York.
This orange sled, rented from the Dutch or bought, I don't know. Advantage, he's got 900s in the bank over Cody Basque. It has a better start than Basque. 300s that time, had 500s better in the other heat. 63.2 though, but Basque's team had a better start velocity, so.
Ran a long way down the track. It's rented from the Dutch coach Edwin van Kalker, who retired in January after winning his last race.
Clean lines there out of 4.
They were 1200s up when they sat down. The gap came down, but now it's opening up. 97.7 is half a kilometre an hour quicker than the US sled.
Well, he's had a great season in 2-man. Juan has. He won 5th place in last week's World Championship 2-man event, which was the best finish by an Asian athlete ever in that competition. And he's pulling away.
137.2, not as quick as Cody Basque, but the time is what counts. 54.32, his fastest result of the championships, and he will finish no worse than 19th.
Hey, they did great in 2-man. They've done pretty good in 4-man. Their skeleton athlete has won a couple medals on the tour this year. The Koreans are well prepped for hosting the Olympic Games in their nation in 2018 in the sliding sports. Here's into the Kreisel. You look at the blue line, he straddles it with the bottom runner perfectly. Look at the heads, are they lined up perfect? Aerodynamic profile, so important. And this is a sled they haven't been in until this week. You know, so you just don't take a sled off the shelf and fit yourself into it. That's done in the summertime with wind tunnel testing. And
always worked well for Edwin van Kalker, especially at this track, that Dutch sled. Well, next up, from Austria, young Benny Meyer, like Cody Basque, 20 years old. Father is the coach of the Austrian team. Brother Raphael, 22, slides for the skeleton lineup. This is his first Worlds at the senior level. He's the bronze medalist in this year's Junior World Championships.
Had a pretty horrific run, the 3rd run, 5:22 start, but that wasn't the problems. He almost tipped it over out of curve 9. It was sideways down an 80-mile-an-hour spot on the track. He saved in speed, 63.4.
That's good.
That's pretty good velocity with that start time.
He's had 2 8th-place finishes in the World Cup in 4-man, in Koenigsegg, Bavaria, and Samaritz in Switzerland, so we know he's got speed.
Ooh, down to 1. Speed doesn't, I don't think that's what the Koreans had.
Koreans 97.7. Koreans had 103.9.
Skid. Now this is where he had his problem. Exit of 9 in the 3rd run. Oh, boy, he figured that out.
Okay, he's gone behind the Koreans by 200ths of a second. This could be nip and tuck to the line, 100th or 2 in it.
Good speed. This is right to the 100th.
That should take him in front of
catch
Korea.
him. Tied. There's the first tie. The personality of this track. There's three sleds at the top of the leaderboard separated by 300s. This is the first. We will see a couple more ties before we're done.
He was 100th in front of the Koreans. He's now tied exactly with them after 4 trips down this 1,330-meter ice canal.
Just the personality of this track. It's been like that since I was competing in it way back in the 70s. This track, it's just got this. Everybody seems to go in the exact same time here. Look at the skid. This is up top, 5 to 6.
They've been racing on this track for 105 years.
Not on this track, but
no,
on the
this
valley.
track's in 77.
Yeah, this is a refrigerated track built in 77, but the old track is right in the same spot we're in now.
Simone Bertaccio of Italy, 17th after the first heat, 900ths of a second in front of our tied leaders at the moment. The 32-year-old now from Italy, best ever World Championship result in 4-man, only 15th, but he's had some really good 2-man races. Unfortunately, sciatic nerve problems ruled him out of last week's 2-man competition.
Bobsledding's about consistency. These guys have been 521, 521, and 521 in 3 heats. Now they're really clean in the sled. Let's see if he gets around here. Speed 64.2, 64.2, should be 63.2. That was about right.
Ran slower and had less speed out than Yoon Jong-won and Benny Meyer, our joint leaders.
Most experienced driver in the back of the fields right here. He won a 2-man World Championship medal in St. Moritz in 2007. He won a couple World Cups in his track in Cesana in 2008, 2009, including a 4-man race. But in the World Championships, he just doesn't have a start time, allow him to perform, and he's got a skid there.
This is going to drop him right into the clutches of the leaders. 103.8 is not enough.
Skidding out of 9 to 10.
Needs 138.
Right to the 100. Here's another one.
Quick Stanford
I don't think so.
137.2. He's tied at the moment.
100. Okay, wow. We got 3 sleds separated by 100. 3 sleds. Okay. Where do you see what happens in the last 3 sleds that come down for the World Championship title?
Big smile from Coach Graham Richardson.
This is just a warm-up of what's going to happen to us about 15 sleds from now.
And the 2 guys behind him, Constantino Ugi, the brakeman, Simone Fontana, the driver in the 2-man race.
Yeah, this is up where the little first skid happened, up top of the track, and then into the Kreisel. That skid compounds over to here. Excuse me, this is the bottom part of the track, into 13, 14.
So the coaches stop breathing in the hope that their sled will stay in front. Simone Bertaccio, the leader. Next up is Nick Cunningham of the USA, second of the US sleds. The 29-year-old from Monterey, California, still has aspirations to be a race car driver. Harrington, Kentucky's Adam Clark, 27-year-old Alex Harrison is at 3. And James Reed at 4 was born in Garmisch, another of the old natural German tracks.
See all the scrape marks in the back of the calves look like they've, Alex Harrison, that's from those spikes, those 16th of inch spikes that give him the grip. 513, not bad. Speed 63.9 is the best speed of any American sled yet at that start speed. So good for Nick Cunningham. His team finally figured it out. There's some good athletes on this sled. Harrison, a 6,600-point decathlete. A lot of decathletes in this field.
Half a second up now on Simone Bertaccio of Italy. That's nearly doubled his advantage over the last 3 runs.
This night train sled won the Olympic gold medal in 2010, the World Championships in 2009 and 12, and
still produces good speed numbers down the bottom. 103.9. That's really quick. 64.5 miles an hour, and down at the bottom,
138.5.
6.1 miles an hour.
That's fast. 54.06. That's the fastest he's been down by 3/10 of any of the 4 heats. Nick Cunningham finally did one good heat.
The last of the season is the best. Just look at how excited they are with that. Adam Clark slapping the cow when he hears the time.
Yeah, Nick. Way to finish off, Nick Cunningham. Brian Scheimer to congratulate them all.
Tough season
for North American sliders, but that's a good way to finish, Nick Cunningham.
Yeah.
There you go. End of a long season for these athletes. Unbelievable what they go through from September till now.
And they still have the US national races in 2 weeks in Lake Placid, so the season is not over for the US sliders, but Cunningham looks happy, and so he should. He leads here in the World Championships with 15 sleds to come. Junior World Champions in bobsleigh and skeleton get an automatic entry, a wild card into the Senior Worlds. 2 years ago in St. Moritz, Francesco Frigic won the two-man title with such a wild card. Christoph Huffer, the 22-year-old former loser from Germany, lies 15th in his first senior appearance.
A lot of yelling going on, but there's 3 more German sleds to come after this Junior World Champion. Yeah, I said it in the first heat, I'll say it again. Get well wishes to Wolfgang Zimmer, the famous Olympic champion from Germany, 3 times 4-man world champion. Skiing accident, 75 years old, hurt his neck and broke a rib. Wolfgang, get healthy. He would have been here if he wasn't for that accident.
Christoph Huffer was only 600s in front of Nick Cunningham after 3 heats. Cunningham going a quarter-second better than he's done all weekend. He has a comfortable lead at the moment.
But this German sled can find time on the bottom.
It's got speed as well. 104.5 Ks is 65 miles an hour.
Oh, it's quick, but I don't know if he's going to catch Cunningham. Doesn't have the speed Cunningham did, so Cunningham's going to get 1 scalp here.
800ths of a second.
Okay, Nick. Alex? Christoph Lange. It's okay, Christoph. You got 3 more yellow sleds coming down the track, so you'll be okay.
Former loser, not the only former loser now driving bobsleigh.
This is a 6'4" guy who's a former loser. I'm looking at him. How could you fit on a loose sled?
I think he's 22 now. I bet he gave up luge when he was about 15 or 16 when he outgrew it.
Big men in that sled, I can tell you that. Here's our pictures at the 85-mile-an-hour speeds right here. Look at the brake, but look at the pressure on him with that head bopping up and down. That's the G-forces.
And look at the yellow knees. You can see the guy at 2 running with his knees under his chin because the driver's so big you can't get your legs around him.
So then the crossover from the, look at this. This is some really good line. Does he hit and bounce? Yeah, everybody does that, but it's 85 mile an hour right there in that spot.
Talking to Lyndon Rush, he said, if you're good in 13, you have to hit in 14. It just happens. 27-year-old Oskars Kybamanis of Latvia, 16th in the Junior Worlds in St. Moritz, and a really good 4-man World Cup season for the former decathlete, but disappointing. Their first start of the competition was 5th fastest. Since then, not able to get a top 10 start time, and here, that is such a problem.
They might just go for it.
They're going to have to go for it.
I would say just let it go. If whatever you get through curve 0 happens, but I think they got a little gun shy after their first heat mishap in the curve 0. 5:09, that's the second best start. Look at the tap, hard tap too. 63.7, look at that. The Americans were 600 slower, but 0.2 of a kilometer better with the load. So the Latvians, and we're going to see that from the top Latvian sled, they got problems with their start velocity too.
Only 900ths of a second in front of Nick Cunningham of the USA. They found a little more at the start, but Cunningham had better speed down the mountain, and the gap is coming down.
This is another too close to call at the bottom again.
Oh yeah. Cunningham 103.9, 103.8. No, the extra speed of the American sled will now come into play. Cunningham 138.5 at the bottom.
No, down to 3.
Kybamanis needs
no
to
speed.
No through the final corner. A kilometre an hour too slow. He'll go behind
100.
by 100.
How many times are we going to see that?
Oh my goodness.
Well, next year's track in Innsbruck has the same personality where the World Championships are. But this is unbelievable.
100th of a second. Nick Cunningham.
3 miles of distance. Length of your knuckle.
Well, he's picked up 2 spots. He was in that tight little group, 3 sleds, 900s. He's climbing the slippery pole.
It's fun to hang out in that leader's box at a World Championships with 3,000 people looking at you.
I think his time might be up now, though.
Here's the crossover. Take on the curve. He gets on there nice. Look at the back end. He looks too early there. He had no speed. He was almost a kilometer and a half down to the Cunningham and the Night Train crew.
Hauled it off 13, bumped it into 14. Nick Cunningham leads for the USA, but to overhaul this sled is going to need some help from Alexei Stulnevic's driver because it was over a quarter-second clear. First World Championships for the 27-year-old. Best result for him in this 4-man season was 8th place on home ice in Sochi, where he was the top Russian sled.
5:08 in the first and third heats. It's a decent velocity in and down. Well schooled, the Russians are. Look at that quiet steering around of that zero curve, 63.9. That's what you'd expect from that start time. And now it's, you know, here's coming up this first curve, this straightaway in the middle. And watch him come out at 4. Does he hit? A little bit, a little skid.
Now, the ice is firmer and harder and faster than it was in the first heat this afternoon. Yeah.
Good speed there. These are clean lines. Aerodynamic profile, the team looks good.
Speed is rising, 104.4 kilometers an hour, 65 miles an hour.
Good crossover. Boy, see he ever pull away here in the bottom. 138.2, not as good a speed as Cunningham, but boy, this is a good, consistent run. 53.92.
That is the first 53-second run he has produced in the competition.
They're still coming down on their personal best. Fastest they've ever been down the track. So everybody's track record. Boy, that just tells you what a fantastic job they did with the ice on this track. Everybody has been saying since the first day of training, the Ice Meisters here have done an unbelievable job at carving this place up. Look at the lines into the... Look at the speeds, 3. Look at this, after Kreisel. Look at that. Hoffer, the German, and Young had the best speeds. Look at the line he had, too. That's where the speed trap is, right here on the right. You see the hole in the wall right there? That's where the speed trap gets registered.
Great drive from Alexei Stilnev, and that might move him up the order a little. Canadian skeleton girls and guys on hand to cheer on Justin Cripps, their bobsleigh teammate, the 28-year-old Hawaiian-born Canadian. First World Championships as a driver. This season, top 4 finishes in Lake Placid and in Sochi to bookend his season. 12th place, 800s in front of Alexei Stilnev. Needs a big one.
They really dropped off, 5'9", 5'11", 5'12". But, you know, 5'10", get in the sled, get down, and get settled. Ooh, a little skid there, 5'12", taps, 63.7, 63.6. So I don't think they hit the velocity mark that they wanted. Now Justin has to drive the perfect line to have a chance to take the Russian on the bottom, and right now it's right to the 100th of a second. What a surprise.
800's lead has evaporated from the start.
Now it's 1.
Now needs 98 kilometers an hour and is just there.
Okay, game on here at the bottom.
Needs to find more to catch the Russian. Ooh. Only 300s. Now he's got not as good speed as Stilnev.
He's not going to fall more than 1 spot.
The gap is going to grow.
Ooh, he's coming back.
Here we go.
Good, same speed.
Same speed as the Russian.
I think the Russian's going to get him.
Yes, he will, by
200
a couple of hundredths of a second. Wow.
You see that same speed, and with that 200s, that held up. 200s, another one of 200s this time, not 1.
Rob Gray, Lyndon Rush in the coach's box, and Justin Cripps doesn't see the 1 digit held up, and that means he knows he's slipped down the order. This is brutal.
North Americans. Last year, between them, they had about 14 gold medals. This year, they only got 2 medals total. In, down, watch the arms. This is the cohesion we talk about. Oh, the brakeman's got some problem. His arms are caught behind him. Look at him coming up. Those arms should be coming up together. Look, see that, the way they got in late?
If you're wriggling in the sled, you're wriggling the back of it. You're right on the end. Makes a big difference. Next up, 27-year-old Nikita Zakharov from Dimitrov. Best in the World Champions for him, 11th place. He lies 11th. His best 4-man result, though, 4th place in Calgary.
And the Russians have had a really tough couple weeks. And their competition, they just haven't, seemed like they haven't come to the World Championships with the same start times and the same speeds in the bottom part of the track. One more Russian sled we're going to see, Kasanov. And he started the year finishing only 100th of a second out of the gold medal in Lake Placid. And since then, only 1 other podium for the Russians.
Yeah, 100th behind Max Arndt, and he'd give anything to be 100th behind Max Arndt now. Zarov tied to the 100th with Alexei Stilnev, his teammate. Zarov is normally the number 2 in the Russian setup. He needs to pull in front if he can.
Another too close to call.
He's been tied almost since the first corner.
Speed, he's down 1.
Behind.
100 doesn't have the speed. He's going to lose by 300s. Let's figure that. Let's just see what that happens.
Insanely tight. He brings it back.
How's that?
So we have the top 3 sleds covered by 200s. The Russians are tied honors even between Nikita Zarov and Alexei Stulnev. Neither of them better than the other in the World Championship.
How many ties have we had? We've had 5 ties. And the best is yet to come. 10 sleds from now.
You know what happens now?
Yeah.
Is now the brakemen start arguing about who's got the best start. And that goes to Stulnev's team. Nikita Zarov tied for the lead.
Boy, didn't have the speed. Somehow he found another 100th of a second. He was down 100th, had a 1/10 of a kilometer deficiency, and maybe these lines right here, look at, he didn't hit. Look at this. Let's see if he hits going in here. Look at these lines. This might be one of the cleanest lines we've seen into the finish. That's where he got his 100th.
Nikita Zarov. That's now 8 Russians in the leader's box, halfway through the final run of the World Championships for 4-man bobsleigh. The fastest 10 in the world still to come. Top 3 sleds covered by 200s, 4th and 5th 100th apart, 7th and 8th and 9th covered by 100th of a second.
And that's the way the top of the leaderboard's going to be. So put your seatbelts on here.
Yeah.
The crowd gets entertained. 8 Russians in the leader's box.
That podium is going to get pretty busy soon. Well, you don't need me to translate that, I hope. It's a great, great atmosphere at the top. And down at the bottom, you're not seeing as well, below our commentary position. There it is.
Huge
The
crowds.
grandstands are absolutely jammed.
Then you got the beer festival going up in the Kreisel.
And look at this. Everywhere, every shot down the track, humanity is several deep. And
Just
all ages of fans here. There you go.
Latvians here.
Latvians on the podium. Well, maybe so.
Some pommes frites.
Yeah.
We both had our daily bratwurst fix.
Well, last bratwurst of the winter. Next time it'll be when the barbecue comes out in the summer.
Look at the people here. Of course, again, 20 years ago, the World Championships here, it was pouring rain. This World Championships, the weather, other than the 2-man first day, has been spectacular.
Really has. They've just been so blessed with the weather here. Of course, that big new start area up the top that's only a few years old, everything's covered, so rain, snow, doesn't matter. It's a lot more human even for the fans. You've got to be a hardy bunch to come out in some of the weather that we've had this year for bobsledding. Fans of all nations down here showing their colours and their appreciation for all of the athletes in every discipline in the World Championships. Everybody feeling the love here in Winterberg. Ten sleds to go in the 4-man bobsleigh World Championships. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching the action as we reach the conclusion of the season. Czech Republic's Jan Verb, the 33-year-old ex-400-meter sprinter, driving way above his budget here in 10th place in the world after the first 3 of our 4 heats. Nikita Zarov and Alexei Stulnev and their teams tied for the lead, inseparable. And Jan Verber, 1700s in front after 3 heats, needs another big trip down this mountain.
They've had great start times. 5:08, 5:09 the last 2 trips. Oh, major mistake there, 5:07. That might have just left the Russians in the leader's box, 63.7. But I'm sure this lead green numbers is going to evaporate here pretty quick.
Well, for a team from a nation as tiny as the Czech Republic to be starting 6th and 7th fastest in the business is just fantastic.
2400 to that clock. Boy, unless he's got some magical line down to here comes the time down, and plus he's going into the Kreisel with a tap. But that 2000s on the exit of Kreisel and 4-man bobsled is a lot of time. So he might have enough. He's coming down more, but boy, he was great down here in the first heat. In the first 2 heats.
Gets good speed from this Singer sled right at the bottom. He's got to thread his way through the labyrinth.
Oh,
this is looking nice. 1600.
Should be enough.
Almost stopped losing speed. 137.9. He'll have a top 10 finish.
Great shot for the Czech Republic, man. Those people, you talk about working with, like, there's Ivo Dolanovic on the left. He has done a fantastic job with the Czech program this year.
Jan Verber's best ever four-man world championship result was in 12th place in Samoritz the last time, 2013. Top 10 result guaranteed.
All really good athletic pushmen here, but they make a mistake here. Look at the arms, the big arms in the back coming up. Somehow they got out of rhythm. Look at the arms come up there perfectly too, but he's over there touching the wall. What would they have been with it if they had got through that first curve clean? But still, top 10 result. Congratulations.
And that's what they wanted, to hold on to that. Stephen Holcomb of the USA just a little too far away for them. So the two-time world champion and four-man Olympic champion from Vancouver, Stephen Holcomb. Last regular season trip for him and Justin Olsen. For Carlo Valdez and Sam Michener, the new boys. What a season these boys have had. It's been tough grind all the way.
All brand new athletes to the program except for Olsen, who was on the gold medal sled with Holcomb in 2010. That's about what they've got. That's the cleanest he's got through there. 63.8, 63.7. Holcomb in practice was flying, but that was in practice. He hasn't really had a great clean heat yet.
Well, let's see if this works for him.
He's had 6 straight podium finishes in the last 6 years in this discipline, including the bronze medal at last year's World Championships. That streak, which is quite a streak to medal 6 straight years, that streak will come to an end today. But Steve Holcomb he's put himself on top of the leaderboard as one of the best American bobsled pilots ever.
Speed of the night train 2 is lower than the Czech sled. The gap remains constant, 1600ths of a second. Will he hit 140? He doesn't. 138.7 though. That's quicker than the Czechs. They will open up the advantage once more. But that trip only 600ths quicker than Jan Verber.
Yeah, the night train 2 is through and down for the day, and it's the first time that one of these night train sleds hasn't medaled since 2009. So, but it's a rebuilding year. Great athletes in the back of the sled. They just got to figure out how to get themselves in bobsled shape, form a team, and come out and get some start times, because you know Holcomb can drive.
Well, Holcomb was not fit to train last summer. The whole summer long he was unable to train, and that's really had a knock-on effect all year. But great speed at the bottom.
He's been doing that.
Night Train 1 and Night Train 2, the fastest sleds. And Holcomb always gets a great reception here. They love a competitor, and this man is solid. Go out and get it. 30-year-old Chris Spring from Canada, lying in the top 8 after 3 of 4 hits, and by some stretch, this is comfortably his best performance of the year. In a year that's been very tough indeed.
They've been impressive at the start, but not with the velocity. They're getting 503s, 505, and then they don't get a great velocity. So they're going to get a 507. And now they're going to get like a 63.8 or 63, yeah. I mean, they should have, with that speed, they should be up near 64. And this is the problem you're going to see with the Latvian sled that's in second place. They have the best start, but they don't have the best velocity.
Spring's World Cup season last year, his worst result was 12th. This year, his best has been a 12th. So this is a long way better than they've been all year.
He's got a huge lead over Holcomb. I can't see him losing 2200s in the bottom part of this track.
Well, the speed is half a kilometre down on the night train at that stage. 103.4, still half a kilometre down, so that jump comes right down. 1600s, could be into single digits at the line. Holcomb 138.7.
He's got to have enough. It's going to be single digits, but he's going to win.
He's going to be very close, and he is in front by 700ths of a second. Holcomb watching that rocking, rolling ride.
Hey, but congratulations to Chris Spring.
Absolutely.
What a great way to finish the season. He couldn't finish in the top 10 for all 8 World Cups. Comes out here. Way to go, Springer.
Best previous World Championships, 14th in Lake Placid, 17th in Samoritz. He'll be no worse than 8th here.
Big mistake up at Curve 4. That's one of the worst lines we've seen so far in this run, and that was worth 2000s. Then down here in the bottom part of the track, a little skid going into 910, but he corrected it by the time he got to this spot, and the sleds, they're 85 miles an hour here, and watch the sleds. This is, 1,380 pounds with the team. Look at the way the vibration brings it up in the air.
Yep.
A lot of violence down there.
So there is Spring and the team. On the left, Alex Kopax. And then Derek Plug and Lascelles Brown with him. 7th place after 3 runs, Alexander Kasyanov. And for all the close groups, these 2 or 3 sleds we're just seeing now were quite a distance apart. He's 1600s ahead of Chris Spring. The 31-year-old Russian must not lose that spot.
Look how quick they are in the sled. What efficiency they bring with the start, 63.9, not bad considering the start time that they posted of 5:13. But
the lead is down to just 700ths of a second.
Now it's back up to 10. This guy should not be in 7th place. The Russians tough. Last month of the season, lost one of their coaches to a sudden heart attack last weekend, devastated the team. But Kasyanov started the season losing the gold medal by 100th of a second, Lake Placid. He lost the gold medal by 200ths in Sochi. I really thought he was peaking at the perfect time, but to find him back in 7th place, it's perplexing. Of course, he lost his brakeman, and that's maybe why he doesn't have the start time. This looks expected. 2,500ths ahead. No, you would expect him. I mean, this guy, again, look at Pierre Luder's. That summarizes the season. You see that look at Pierre Luder's face.
Second in the overall World Cup standings in 4-man, should not be battling to hang on to 7th spot.
But when you got the 12th and 13th best start times on a short 1,200 meter, 1,300 meter track, that's the dictation here. I mean, you cannot have a start time and compete on this track. Look at the speeds. Look at the way their exit here. Get off the curve is the outlet, where you get on the curves, the take on. He's as good a driver as there is in the field. You know, finishing 4th in last year's Winter Olympic Games in both the 2-man and the 4-man. He's still looking at some way of getting on the podiums.
It's been a big season for Rico Peter of Switzerland, the 31-year-old bronze medalist in the 4-man in Altenburg in Germany. 2-man win, last race of the regular season in Sochi. His best World Championship result, this might come as no surprise, in St. Moritz in 2013, where he was 6th in the 4-man. He lies 6th now, and his target will be try and overhaul Team Great Britain, who come after him on the ice.
Hasn't had a good heat yet. Been sloppy, decent speeds, 5:08, 5:7, 5:08.
Oh, and
a little late, 5:07.
The tall Dutchman at 2 didn't get in well.
That's probably 63.9. That's about. He's done that every time. Come out of curve 0, bump right, bump left. But his real problems have been down at curve 4 coming up here. I don't think he's made it through here clean yet. Now look at middle of the straight. That's good. Let's see if he gets through here clean.
That's better.
That's the first time he's got there through that curve 4 nemesis for him in all 4 runs.
By Coach Wolfgang Stanford will produce big speed at the bottom if he doesn't hit too many things on the way down.
And he's been sloppy at curve 9. This is 8. Watch him at 9. Watch the head slap here.
Big speed.
That's pretty quiet.
Fastest we've seen so far. 4/10 up on
This is clean. This might be his best run of the 4. Wow. Good speed in the finish, too. This is finally Rico Peter did it. 53.86.
Not as quick as his last trip, but that's enough to put him way ahead of Alexander Kasyanov. Half a second clear, so he's added about a quarter-second advantage over what he had in the previous 3 runs.
That is a good heat for him. If he would have done that all 4 heats, he'd be up in 4th. Rico, good season. Breakout win, first ever gold medal in the 2-man when he won $16,000 for it in Sochi. He's emerged, and little problem with the crew. Look at this. See, look at his right leg here. Can't get his leg in.
Van der Zijde doesn't get in. Thomas Amrine, the man at 3, can't get in either.
Well, they got in. They got down quickly, though.
Yeah, it might be a few scrape marks from the spikes there.
Good job, Rico. Good season.
There's the World Championship beard. Rico Peter, the leader, with 5 to go. Big heat coming up for Great Britain's Lamin Dean, the 33-year-old Grenadier Guardsman. 5th place in the World Champs, his best result. Ben Simons, Bruce Tasker, Andy Matthews behind him. 1 heat to go here in Winterberg to hang on to this top 5 result. And they are under pressure from Switzerland's Rico Peter, our current leader, who was only 800ths behind him after 3 heats.
Well, 5:08 last run. Good velocity they get, though. They get 64 velocity. 5:06.
Nice start from the boys and good first corner
64
speed.
flat velocity.
That is the fastest we have seen so far. Lamindine needs to relax into this final drive down the track. He's produced some of his best ever driving.
Ben Simons and Bruce Tasker, his Bushmen, both have driven on the World Cup circuit this year. The British are bringing some great athletes to the front seat.
The hope is that they will both drive in next year's World Championships, but first, he's got to build this advantage. 1200s now over Rico Peter. 104.3, very close to the Stanford sled.
This is good lines.
Needs 138, medium 138s will do it. 900 a second, 138 flat.
Should be enough.
Is he going to be in the lead of the line? He is! He equals John Jackson's 5th place in San Moritz, and that is a huge result for Lamindine, for Pete Gunn, for
the whole British program.
British team, and
a lot of work.
Disappointed with his first run, has produced 3 storming drives. Top 5 in the world, guaranteed.
Congratulations to these guys. Look at the velocity here. Look at the heads. You're always looking at 85-mile-an-hour speed down here. You're looking for perfect aerodynamic efficiencies. See some heads moving back there a little bit. Hey, great 5th place. No worse than 5th for him.
Big smile from Lamindine, the leader. And now we get into the battle for the medals. 1700ths of a second cover on top 4. Double 2-man world champion Francesco Friedrich from Germany, trying to regain the 3rd place he lost in the 3rd heat.
Yeah, he lost it because he had a big skid out of curve 0, and here he had a half of a big skid. Look at the speed, 64.3 kilometers. He had some problems in curve 1 in the 3rd run that put him out of this top 3 spot. He could blister a run right here and just say, catch me if you can here at the bottom.
He set the track record in the 2nd run yesterday to go 3rd. He needs to do the same again.
Listen to the crowd.
Big speeds all the way down. The fastest sled we've seen so far.
As expected, good line at 9. This is where you really pick it up. Watch the back end of the sled here in the 3rd labyrinth, right here.
He was faster in his 3rd run and still dropped down. This is not the speed he needs to get a medal.
Okay, Christoph Lange knows he's got 2 more yellow sleds coming. So there's at least, the Germans are guaranteed at least 1 medal right now.
Yep.
The other 3 sleds crash. They're in for at least a medal.
So, Francesco Friedrich, 22-year-old in San Moritz, took the world title in 2-man as the junior world champion as well. And this year he came back and defended it from Oskars Melbardis, the standout driver of the season. And bear that in mind in 2 sleds time, because history could be about to repeat. So will Friedrich take a medal in the 4-man? Well, he'll be no worse than 4th. 3 to go, 300ths of a second, covering them after 3 runs. 24-year-old Nico Walter started in 4-man in the World Cup at the beginning of the season, crashed in Lake Placid. 5th in his 2nd race in Calgary, gold in Altenburg, his home track.
Had the best time of the 3rd run, set the track record. He needs to do it again. Former luge athlete in the front seat. The 3 guys behind him are all former World Championship medalists. Gold medalists.
5:06, their fastest start. They know everything.
64.3, great velocity.
Same as Friedrich.
And they're 300ths worse at the start, so they had better velocity. He's got 3 veterans behind him who've all won World Championship gold medals before. He had the best drive in the 3rd run. Right there, though, he just tapped before curve 5. See if that costs him.
98.3, exactly the same speed as Francesco Friedrich. Friedrich, 105.1, 104.4. This is going to bring the gap down.
This is going to be close.
This could be down into single digits, but he can't lose it from here.
1400s. This is a bronze medal at least for Nico Walter. What a comeback.
What a year for the youngster. 53.74, 100th of a second faster than Francesco Friedrich. He extends the advantage. The thumbs are up from the coaches.
Listen to this crowd.
He takes a bronze medal at least in the World Championships. Matthias Höpfner and René Spies, they both know what it's like to medal in the Worlds.
The start, all three guys behind him. Veteran, world championship gold medalist, took this young rookie, fired him down the track with a track record in the third run. He maintained in the fourth run, guaranteed himself at least. Look at René Spies. He's almost in tears.
He knows what it means. Well, the coaches are loving the speed of these young athletes. So let's talk about history. Oskars Melbardis won the two-man Crystal Globe as the best driver of the season. He won the four-man Crystal Globe as the best driver of the season. He won the combined title. He lost gold in the two-man to the world champion Francesco Friedrich. He lies second in the four-man to the world champion Max Arndt.
A Latvian has never won a world championship gold medal in two- or four-man bobsled competitions. This is the best starting team in the world. 5 flat and all 3 runs so far.
If the hairs on the back of your neck are not standing up now, check your pulse.
Oh, mistake, big mistake.
4:98, the fastest
Ties the start
competition.
record, but that's going to be 64 flat. They're 0.3 of a kilometer already down to both German sleds. He needs to be a perfect drive line to have a chance, because that mistake is going to cost him dearly.
He'll be in the red next clock. That speed is gone.
And we're talking
200s behind, 97.7, 98.3 for Nico Walter.
Oh, they've lost
700s back.
They could fall
Half a
behind
kilometre now
both
behind.
German sleds.
1500s is the margin first to second at the moment. He's 700s, he's 800s back. He's going to be on the podium, but he's not going to win.
Oh,
Second spot, Nico Walter moves from bronze to silver. We are going to have a German world champion, whatever else happens. The crowd go wild.
Wow, they went for it. They said we have to have the start to win, but they might have ran one step too far. Even though they tied the track record at the start, this mistake cost them a chance for a world championship title. One step too far. Look at this, three men.
Jaskins can't get in. The man at 2 can't get in, and they can't get down, and they're rocking and rolling, and they hit the wall, and that was gold gone.
They were lucky to maintain a bronze. Still, great season, Oskars, great season. He just got spiked.
And that's how you lose an Achilles tendon. So Nico Walter leads for Germany. Oskars Melbardis lies second, and the world champion, Max Arndt, with Alex Rödinger and new boys Kevin Corona and Ben Haber, tries now at the age of 27 to repeat what he did 2 years ago in St. Moritz, and that is lift the gold medal.
They get a deficient start time, 5:08 or 5:09, but they also have great velocity. Very impressed with this team's suspect start time, great velocity. Let's look for them to match 64.3 here in the velocity.
Look at the way they get in. Stunning load.
64.4! That's why he's on top of the leaderboard. Their team, they have so much velocity in and down on that sled, and he's one of the best drivers in the world. His world championship hopes he's got right in his hands right now.
1/100 of a second is the lead. Has the same little ding that Walter did. Nico Walter, 98.3.
This is...
Could be tied. We could give away 2 gold medals
back
here.
in the green. Oh, he tapped there before 9. Speed.
Faster than Walter. He's going to be in the lead. Bottom corner needs 1:38 and change, and he will be on target for the
Oh, it's right to the 100th. Either way, who's going to win?
Walter, it's going to be Max Arndt, the world champion by 200ths of a second. Nico Walter almost thought he had it. Rödinger leaps up in the sled, and Max Arndt is jubilant. He, like Francesco Friedrich a week earlier, defends his world championship in Germany. Francesco Friedrich in the blue bobble hat down there to congratulate him will finish 4th. Lamindine 5th, Rico Peter of Switzerland 6th. but German Yellow Jackets have dominated the podium. Max Arndt, the winner. Nico Walter there in the black hat offers his congratulations. He takes the silver medal. While Walter at 24, his time will come. Don't you be mistaking that. Next year in Eagles in Austria. Into the center of town, just off to the left of the shot. Down the hill we'll go to the town square, where the final medal presentation ceremony will go. And 7 o'clock this evening, the party will commence. And that is it. The last slide of the regular season, the last slide of the World Championships has been completed. Max Arndt won his first race this year in Lake Placid. He wins his last race this year in Winterberg in Germany. One World Cup win to start off. He rounded out the season with a World Cup win and then won again here. The World Championships, a double four-man world titleist. Max Arndt, congratulations indeed on a job well done. Busy crowds down at the finish area, and they will be thronging into town in just a few moments. Max Arndt of Germany wins the World Championship for Man Bobsleigh by 0.02 of a second from Nico Walter, his teammate. Oscars Melbardis, always in the frame, edges out to the bronze medal position ahead of Francesco Friedrich. And a stunning 5th place for Team Great Britain and Lamin Dean ahead of Rico Pater, rounding out the top half dozen. Jan Verber of the Czech Republic, right behind two-time world champion Stephen Holcomb, certainly outperforming his budget. And there are the rest of our top 20 finishers. 16th place, Christopher Harfer, the junior world champion. Cody Basque of the USA in 20th spot. 12 men on the podium. How many of them are looking happy as they receive their flowers, I wonder? Certainly the Germans will be very pleased with themselves. And Oscars Melbardis, a little rueful on the podium, but not where he wanted to be, not where he believed he could be after a dominating season. Well, Nico Walter there in the black hat, looking very happy with himself. 24 years old, a World Cup rookie this year. Fantastic four-man performance, and but for 0.02 of a second could have come away with the World Championship title. But Max Arndt, 27 years old, and a double world champion in four-man. President of the FIBT, Ivo Ferriani, in the hat there, handing out the trophies, along with the region's sport minister. Wow, what a race it was, always in question. We knew it was going to be hard to pick a winner. We didn't know it was going to be this hard to pick a winner. What might have been the most nerve-jangling four-man bobsleigh World Championships ever. Winterberg produced stunning weather and stunning racing, and everybody had to find absolute perfection to perform well here. Max Arndt wins the World Championship, successfully defends his title, as Francesco Friedrich did in the two-man race. The margin of victory, 0.02 of a second. Faster than the blink of a human eye. A fantastic performance all round. Held his nerve, found his pace, and retained his title. Well, the long march into town begins for some, and for others, a chance to hear from our top three.
Okay, Team Mel Bardis, a fantastic season. You dominated the whole tour. Still come out of this tough German tack with bronze medal. You're still got to be happy with this.
Yeah, of course. And these 2 days was great and very tough races. And yeah, last one was a big mistake after start, and it's happened to everybody. It's happened, and we are happy. Yeah, we are third best in the world, and thanks to these guys. It's amazing race these 2 days.
Congratulations, Team Mel Bardis. What a season you guys have had. Okay, the rookie, Nico. These veterans behind you, pretty good starts, huh? Pretty good drive, too.
Yeah, today was much better than yesterday. Was very, very close to Maximilian. Maybe we would have needed another day, but it's fine. It's my first year, first World Championship, and I'm so happy right now.
We're happy for you, too, Andreas, your child. Hey, Max, do you realize your start team had the best velocity after the first curve? We know you drove good, but your start team.
No, we know today we have to push hard. In this last run, it's a tiny race, so Nico had a great run in the last, beats my bodies, and so the guys give me a 5:06, the best start time, the 5:07 this 2 days. Thank you, Marco. No, and this is the reason why I came good in the track. Good driving today, and now it's party. We're only happy, and I love this, guys.
Well, congratulations, Deutsch. Enjoy it.
Congratulations indeed to our world champion, Max Arndt, and his team, Alex Rodiger, Kevin Corona, and Ben Heber. On behalf of John Morgan and the whole FIBT TV crew who have been bringing you these pictures all season long, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being part of the journey from Lake Placid to Winterberg. I'm Martin Haven. We'll see you next year. Until then, auf Wiedersehen and goodbye.